Hello and welcome everyone. Happy New Year, happy 2023, and welcome to this astrological forecast of the first full moon in this new year of 2023. We have full moon in Cancer on the 6th of January, and it's really beautiful to start a new year with full moon in Cancer, because Cancer is ruled by the moon, and this is something that puts us in the state of feeling safe, feeling taken care of, feeling nurtured and nourished. This is about us taking full responsibility of ourselves. And it's really beautiful to start here with this full moon. But of course, there are some other things to deal with this Cancer energy, because the archetype of the Cancer is related to the Great Mother. And the Great Mother encompasses everything, the good and the bad and the ugly, all things that we want and things that we don't want as well. This is the Mother Nature, and we know very well that Mother Nature is giving a lot, but it's also taking. So this is something that we have to understand now and comprehend with our deeper instincts, with our intuition, because Cancer is related to intuition and the moon. So we are very emotionally driven. Our emotions are running wild and high during this time, and especially because all this energy around holidays, holy days, and the New Year and the Christmas, and hard working in order to get some rest, in order to be with family, to spend more time with family, and not always running after your goals and ambitions. Or maybe there is another extreme where we are maybe too much with our family, too much attached to our home, and being afraid to get out there in the world. So it will be different for each of us, but we have to see which extreme is working stronger, and we have to create that balance, because the sun is in Capricorn. We are still in Capricorn season. And I also recommend to all of you who didn't watch previous live, New Moon in Capricorn, to go and watch that one, because these two are connected. Cancer and Capricorn are very much related. They are complementary signs, even though they are opposites, because they fulfill each other. And whenever there is a full moon, the sun is in the opposing sign. So during this full moon in Cancer, we have the sun in Capricorn, and Mercury is retrograde. Mercury stationed retrograde on the 29th of December, and it will be retrograde until the 18th of January. So during this time of this full moon, Mercury retrograde is right next to the sun in Capricorn, and it's exactly opposing this full moon in Cancer. So Mercury retrograde is involved in this energy very much, and Mercury is the planet of communication, planet of learning and teaching and transfer and traveling and exchanging words, expressing ourselves through words, through gestures. And Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, related to this energy. So we may have to go back over something. We may think about people from our past. We may connect with people from our past. We may reconnect and reunite with people we lost touch with. Also Mars is retrograde in Gemini, and the ruler of the Gemini is Mercury. So this retrograde energy is really strong, and this year begins in a slow motion. It's not so like New Year right away. It's like starting slowly. It's like we are just waking up from the sleep, from the hibernation, and we need some time for our eyes to start opening. So this retrograde energy is really about that adjusting and aligning and attuning with these new energies of changes. And this is reunion with our family, reunion with our inner family, with our inner child, reconnection with people who feel like our family. And also this may be something that we come back to, something that gives us sense of purpose, because Capricorn is much about having that sense of purpose, and Cancer is about those core emotions, feeling safe and secure, feeling taken care of. This is when we can go after our ambitions and goals and really find the meaning and purpose, when we feel safe and taken care of, when we feel truly like we belong to. This is our inner anchor, our inner centeredness. It's not something that we are supposed to find outside of us, even though we are constantly searching for these things outside of us. And this is normal process, but these times, these energies now are reminding us of the essence of that which gives us the safety space, what gives us that safe space within ourselves, what we have to build, that inner strength and inner anchor that we can always rely on. We can always rely on ourselves. When we know ourselves, we can rely on ourselves. When we don't know ourselves, we get lost and we search for approvals from others. And the archetype of Cancer achieves strength through surrender. And Cancer, the crab, lives in two different realities, on the land and in the sea. And we too have to be able to apply that wisdom of being immersed in water, which represents emotions and flow of life, natural flow and rhythm, and being on the dry land, or using our rational mind and using intuition, the water, and using the rational mind together, and bring them together in peace, make them in peace. This is our reminder that we can do this. We definitely can do this during this time. Water doesn't resist. This is what water is teaching us. Water doesn't resist. It just flows forever onwards, like life, and the primordial source of life. And the Cancer is known as the gates of men, the gates of men and women, the gates through which we descend into this world, as Capricorn is the gate through which we ascend. So Cancer is our womb, the mother, the womb through which we come into this world, the childbirth, giving birth to ourselves, giving birth to our inner child. And this is the great nurturing mother, the ever-loving mother, all-loving mother, the archetype that we are all looking for, that we are all feeling that we need. There is a lack of that archetype in this world. We have been taught that mother needs to be all loving and all nurturing and all understanding, but this is not always true. We know so many people in this world who have gone through mother traumas, and even if there is nothing, there's nothing that happened like trauma, like concrete trauma, there is that need for always being nurtured, always being taken care of, always being understood. And when we have a lack of that, we can fall into emotional manipulations, and then we give our power away to those emotional manipulations, and we ourselves become emotional manipulators unconsciously. This happens under the layers of the consciousness, and this is the Cancer archetype as well. This is our private world, our inner world, our internal life, that inner child. And inner child is just a modern term. It's just a name for a big complex of all our suppressed, repressed, denied, ignored, neglected emotions and feelings and needs and wants. Every time we've been rejected, this energetic structure has been packed and put into that new structure that we call inner child. Every time we felt wounded, every time we didn't receive what we wanted, every time we were somebody rejected us, every time we felt abandoned, all these things are very deep and they are rooted in our psyche. And then we repeat these traumas in our external world with our loved ones, with the closest ones. And we know that the most painful experiences we experience through those closest relationships. Why? Because we are mostly attached to those people, and then this hurts us the most, because these are the ones who we expect to give us love and understanding and compassion and empathy. But when we don't receive this, we start feeling threatened and hurt and rejected and abandoned. That's the primal wound of the Cancer archetype, feeling abandoned and isolated and misunderstood. And especially during this time, we may feel this because Mercury is retrograde, opposing this full moon together with the sun. So misunderstandings are very highlighted and possible to happen. So let's all have this in our minds and in our hearts to know that maybe we won't understand everything. Maybe there will be misunderstandings with our closest ones, with our loved ones, with people who feel like our family, with our family members. So let's train patience, and let's try to work on forgiving. This is the season of giving, as I spoke about in the previous live, the season of Capricorn, the season of giving, but also the season of forgiving and giving. And it's said, forgive and forget, but of course it's easier said than done. But this is something that we have to work on, because without these efforts, we don't achieve the progress. We don't go through evolution then. And if this Cancer archetype is very strong, these are our core emotions, our core needs, our core root traumas, and these are our roots. Cancer archetype and the fourth house and the moon represents our emotions, our mental processes as well, and our roots, our family lineage, our mother, our parents as well, our inner child, our childhood, childbirth traumas, our emotional insecurities and instabilities, emotional maturity as well. So during this time, we really have to put efforts and actions into gaining that emotional maturity and taking full responsibility of our feelings and emotions. Responsibility, Capricorn, maturity, Capricorn. And this is opposing sign from Cancer. So we need this. We need to grow up regardless of how old we are, in order to take care of that inner child who has been neglected and abandoned and ignored and denied and suppressed. Many times we don't hear this voice. We hear it again when this wound is triggered. Then we hear it again. But what do we do during those times when we feel rejected, abandoned, ignored, and denied? We search for attention. We search for attention, and we expect others to do things for us. And this is not how we grow up. We don't give space for ourselves to grow up and to change. And during this full moon, Uranus plays a very important role too. And this is good news, because Uranus is the game changer, the planet of that represents the future, awakening, freedom, moving forward, being revolutionary and rebellious, and being ready to accept changes, to make changes, to be the change that we want to see in the world and to see in our life and to see in our relationships. And Uranus is in a beautiful trine aspect with the Sun in Capricorn, and the trine is really beautiful and harmonious and friendly energy. So we have support from Uranus, we have support from that game changer, we have support to wake up emotionally. And there are changes, there are definitely changes in our family, in our home, in how we feel our family, in how we feel home, in how we feel the soul family. How do we feel in this on this planet? Because this planet is our home as well, and all of us who live in this planet that we call planet Earth, but it's actually our home in this time and space, we are all living together in that same home. And what do we see happening in this home? Do we give our best to make peace with people we live in this same home, or do we constantly search for mistakes and weaknesses and blind spots? That's the question for ourselves, for all of us to ask ourselves. What do we do on this greater scale of the home and family, the greater family, the collective family? And what do we do this on the micro level in our home, where we grew up, in the home where we were born, in the home that we created our new family? What do we do in this place? How do we relate to others? And we often try to protect ourselves from from the energies of others. We constantly try to defend ourselves, to protect ourselves, so we may be overly protective and overly defensive, and this can lead to some passive aggression. So we have to be careful of being passive aggressive, of emotionally manipulating others in order for them to stay forever, to keep them close to us. But we may also go into another extreme where we push others away from us. But this is, again, search for attention. It's the same. Whichever extreme you take, there is the same core root issue of feeling abandoned and wanting to be taken care of. Either we try to hold on to something or someone, or if we try to push away someone from us. So this is something that we have to really understand on a deeper level. And how do we behave in this home? But what's most important is, what do we do? And this involves micro and macro level together in our inner home. How do we behave in our inner home? Do we know the members of our inner home and family? Are those members of our inner family having harmonious relationships, or are they in disharmony and in disbalance? So we may see these disbalances and disharmonious inner relationships, either in ourselves or in our close relationships with people, because full moon tends to bring things to light. This is the energy of the full moon. It's revealing something to us. It's showing us something that we didn't know was there. It's giving us clearer picture, even though Mercury is retrograde, but something will culminate, something will be brought to light, something will come to its peak, a moment. So this is the moment of fulfillment as well, of fulfillment and fruition. Something can come to fruition, but something can come to an end. The full moon is energy of completions and endings and closures and disclosures and revelations, but also this is a very important time for big emotional release. We have a huge opportunity for that huge emotional release that may feel like we may be flooded, emotionally flooded. Cancer, water energy, moon, and full moon brings this all to its fullest. So we may feel emotionally flooded, but there is this moment of necessary discharge so that we can recharge again. And this is, like that example with the water in the glass. So if we want the fresh water, and there was water already in the glass from before, we have to put that water out from the glass, and in order for new water to come in. So that's the same with us and our energy. We have to discharge ourselves from that steady water and allow ourselves to receive the fresh, alive water again. So this is the entrance into our inner world. And it's really beautiful because this Cancer full moon also makes a sextile to Uranus. So the sun makes a trine and the moon makes sextile to Uranus, which is full of opportunities for change, for new change. So the question is for us, what do I need to change in my world, in my behavior, in my attitude, in my perspective, in my inner reactions, in order to make myself feel more like I'm home, to make myself feel relaxed, to make myself feel safe, feel fully safe. This is what Cancer part of us needs. We need to feel protected, taken care of, nurtured. We need to feel safe. We need that safe space. And nobody can give us this safe space but ourselves. This can happen temporary. We can feel external safe and security, but then again, something will happen that will take us out of that comfort zone and that will again face us with our own inner child complexes and with our own inner mother and inner father. So this is the time of reparenting ourselves, truly taking full responsibility of what we say, how we feel, how we react internally, how we perceive what others do, what others say, and why that affects us so much. And this means that we stop blaming external circumstances and people and relations. When we are ready to take full responsibility of ourselves, this definitely means that we have to detach from complaining, blaming, and expecting others to take care of us, to do something that we didn't receive in our childhood. We expect others to behave, to be our mothers and fathers, or we take the role of mother and father in somebody else's life and we want to take care of others. This is the same issue, the same wound, the same trauma. Again, if we feel the need to be taken care of, or if we have that strong need to take care of others, to protect them, to defend them, to save them, to give them that what they are missing, we are constantly giving and giving and giving, and this is of course again not working. We have to let those people do it on their own, because we are not doing them any favor. We are definitely not doing favor to ourselves either in doing these things. So we have to really see that we need to be responsible individuals and to create that harmonious relationship and harmonious family. So the question for us is also, what is family? What does it mean? What that word triggers in us? What family means to me? How would I define family? What are my first associations? What are my first triggers? What are my first images and thoughts and feelings and processes that happen when I think about family? And this will give us a lot of material to work with. This will give us a lot of those signs and traces that will help us understand our inner complexes, to understand our emotional insecurities and our emotional wants and needs. So the mother is one of the oldest symbols that exist. The first mythological stories of creation of the world is always spoken in terms of mother, of the great mother giving birth to everything, the mother nature. So we have to understand that this concept is rooted within ourselves. It has to do with our genetics. And when we see the glyph of Cancer, it has a very similar glyph like the symbol of the DNA, the double helix. So this is about our genetics as well. And we inherit, we receive those things. This is about our genetical inheritance, but also our spiritual genetics, because this is the first that comes. And then when it is embodied and given form and shape, we receive it through our mother. And of course, mother gives life to baby through the womb. So the Cancer, that's why the Cancer archetype is related to that gate of man. And the breastfeeding, the milk, and we have the Milky Way, of course, in our galaxy, and the chests that feed the world, that feed this whole planet. So this is again seen in the mother and the child archetype. And we all have mother, we all have parents, actually. We all have parents, whether they are present in life or not. But we all come from somewhere. These are our roots. We all come from somewhere. We have, all of us, each of us have mother and father. And they also have their mother and their father, and so on and so on. This is how we build the big tree, the family tree, the tree of life again. And this is also another reminder of us being connected with everything and everyone in this world. And of course, there is a greater source from where we came from. This is again a reminder that there is a higher power in this universe and in this life that gives us the essence, that gives the seed. The question is, who gives the seed of new life? It's not something that happens by coincidence. Everything is perfectly designed in this reality, in this world. Everything communicates with each other. And if we focus more on looking on those secret communications that we don't have an opportunity to see in our everyday life, but when we are when we sit with ourselves, with our emotions, with our feelings, this is again that moon and Cancer energy in the 4th house, the inner world, which is very important during this season. I spoke about this also in the previous live. So when we have time to take some rest, to fully relax, to really relax, because we forgot what it means to relax. We have no idea what it means to be relaxed. We are collectively anxious, and this became the normal state of being. I apologize for these noises because I'm recording this on the 31st of December. So, but I guess it's here for a reason. It's again the reminder that we are here, and right now. So let's use everything that happens in a constructive way. Everything can be used and perceived in a constructive way. And instead of always trying to defend ourselves from others, to protect ourselves from others, let's think in terms of trying to protect others from ourselves. This will change our perception. This will change our attitude in our relationships. And this will change our relationship with our inner world as well. So let's try to focus on trying to protect others from ourselves, because this is also possible, right? Why do we always have to protect ourselves from others? Let's try to protect others from ourselves. And this means that we have to work on becoming better people. And this is our great task, our highest task for this new 2023 year, because this year has some huge transits, big ones, very important ones, and we are asked to really give our best, to become a true human being, to really understand what it means to become a true human being, and to understand what it means to be in connection with our inner world and with the Mother Nature and with everything that surrounds us. And the Mother, the archetype of the Great Mother, is always related to this planet Earth and everything that exists on it, everything. And this is something through which we come into this material world. And it's connected with the primordial ocean and the earth. And it's mysterious and nurturing, and it's sustaining. But this energy can also be dangerous and dark and unknown and destructive. And the Mother archetype carries within herself the constructive and destructive energies. And as I said at the beginning of this live, you know, this nature can give us things for life, but also take things from us. It gives us fruits, it gives us plants, it gives us herbs for us to sustain life, to maintain this life. But also our body comes back to this earth. But in order for us to give back the depth of that, of the earth giving us the food, then we become the food for this earth later in this cycle. But this is the body. There is something different happening on a soul level, but we have to understand the archetype of the Mother. And if we don't have that harmonious relationship with the Mother within ourselves, we won't have a relationship, in the harmonious relationship with the Father either. And this has to do with our inner feminine and masculine processes within ourselves, the principles of the yin and yang. So the Mother and Father, the archetype of the Mother and Father. So if we have this harmonious feminine principle, this harmonious relationship with the Mother, if we don't understand the Mother, we won't understand the Father either. And this is why there is a great disbalance in our relationships and within ourselves. So this is the whole cycle of birth and death within her being. And this is the womb and the tomb. You know, this is the cradle and the grave at the same time. So we know in astrology the 4th house that is related to Cancer is also related to place of birth, but also to place of death. And this is something that happens through the same entrance and exit. Entrance is exit at the same time. And we are also reminded of these things during this time. So the dark mother is the part of the nature, and it's trying to pull us back into the unconsciousness. This is what happens when there is a dark moon phase. But now this is the full moon phase, and this dark phase is coming to light. So what's been hidden, what's been suppressed is being brought up, and it's being revealed. And we must overcome that which is unconscious within ourselves. We are asked to make the unconscious conscious, as Jung would say. So the great mother of the gods is challenging us all the time. This is the challenging energy. And the mother goddess splits itself in two in order to become conscious and to know itself. And the Cancer part in us may resist that split and remain fused with the mother, because there is a fear of being detached from the mother. And this is the same that happens from the side of the child. The child doesn't want to part from the mother, and the mother who keeps the child continuously and constantly with herself. The mother who doesn't want to let her child grow up, and the child who doesn't want to grow up because it has a fear to grow up and become fully self-responsible. And this is how we continue this chain of these inheritances from the mother and father, from the mother and father to the child continuously. And these times are always great possibilities and opportunities for us to break those chains and to step out at least a little bit from those conditionings, from those home, family, traditional conditionings, and to understand them from a higher level, to understand that they did what they knew the best, but also to never forget that these things are also within ourselves, our inner parents, our inner home, our inner child. And we know that life sooner or later will push us out of our nest. Like when the baby is in the womb, it cannot stay there forever. Even though it's very comfortable, very beautiful, the baby doesn't have to do a thing there. But life will push it out from the womb into the life. So this is what happens during this full moon as well. We may be pushed out from the comfort zone in order for something to change, for something to grow in our life, for us to grow up in that sense of becoming our true parents, of not searching for others to give us what we have to give to ourselves. We are searching and expecting others to give us that which we have to give to ourselves. And this is love, understanding, empathy, compassion, some greater understanding, like giving ourselves some time and space to really rest, to really relax, and to be who we are, to be on our own, to be with ourselves. And this is the desire to reconnect with the source, to reconnect with that inner child. And there is a tendency to look for someone or something that will always take care of us and make us feel like we belong. And this search for emotional security and roots can only be found within. Let's not forget this. It's very important, because we will fail each time, we will fail. And it's time to remind ourselves that, that as long as we have these, as we hold grudges towards others, we will have repeated scenarios. Maybe not with the same people, but with others we will. And that's how we repeat the same situations with people, because we don't forgive, we don't forget. And if we don't forget those moments when we felt abandoned and rejected and hurt and betrayed in any way, as long as we keep them in ourselves as something bitter, these things will repeat, and they will repeat over and over again. So let's give our best to walk through that path of giving, forgiving, and forgetting. Not forgetting in a way like it never happened, but forgetting that attachment, forgetting that pain and turning it into the wisdom, and understanding that all our weaknesses are actually our strengths that are covered with those weaknesses. Every weakness can be turned into our strength, and it's actually true that there where we feel the weakest is actually where we are mostly gifted. This is the place where we have the greatest potential, where our mission for this life is hidden. It's right there in that place that we are afraid of, that place where we feel weak. There is our gift. Our gifts are hidden in our weaknesses, and this is given to us in a way, in this way, because only by seeing them as weaknesses we will fight, and we will struggle, and we will make efforts to make the change. Uranus is in game. Let's not forget this change. We are supported to change during this time, and it's really important to know that this is also very much related to our imagination and our dreams, and this part of reality that is not so much talked about, this part of reality that is considered unreal or less important than this reality that we perceive with our five senses, five physical senses. So this is a time to turn on our sixth sense, especially because Mars is retrograde in Gemini, and the ruler of Gemini, Mercury, is also retrograde in Capricorn. So this is a time to remember that we do have our sixth sense. We do have it, and let's use it, and let's not abuse it. Let's use it in a way to understand each other and not to always search for mistakes in others. Let's try to see the qualities in others. Let's try not to always search for errors and mistakes in others. This is what we do unconsciously, because we are afraid of us being in the role of those who we judge. We are afraid of being judged, of being, taken advantage of. And as long as we are afraid of this, we attract these things. We attract to be abandoned, to be rejected, to be hurt, as long as there is fear. So this fear is also holding that great potential for inner strength. And the chaos has to be contained and held. And the Cancer archetype is both the chaos and the container. And there is a resist. We resist to the desire. We can be tricked to think that we have to come back to the womb, but there is actually a chance for us to come out of that womb, to come out of that shell of the Cancer. Stop hiding, stop feeling ashamed, stop feeling threatened. We always feel threatened by everything because we live in fear. The frequency of fear is very high. It's on a very high level, and because of this fear, we have lack of connection, lack of true, natural, organic connection with our other fellow brothers and sisters in this world, and with our brothers and sisters and with our parents, because of this fear. And this is where we find our treasures, in these places where we are afraid and where we feel weak. This is where we find that inner anchor. It's right there. And it's really time to understand that nobody is after to get us. And we can imagine, try to imagine. I know it's hard, but let's try practicing. Let's imagine what would it be? What would it feel like if just for 1 minute in this whole world we all would stop feeling afraid? What kind of world and would that be? How would I feel if I can, wake up and come out, go out from my house, get out of the home and perceive everyone as a part of my family that I feel supported by and that I support greatly? What if can I bring that feeling? Can I imagine that feeling of not being afraid of anything for at least 1 minute or less, at least 20 seconds? Can I be in that state of completely feeling relaxed, completely feeling free from fear? Can I be completely free from fear, free from feeling that I may be judged for doing something, that I may be criticized for something, that I would be misunderstood, that I would be seen as this or that? How different would this world be if I just stopped being afraid for at least 20 seconds? So let's all try to practice this. It's really good practice if we can. It's very helpful. It's not easy, but we can try. We can try every moment, whenever we can, whenever we remember. Let's try to be giving and forgiving and to practice this place this feeling where we don't feel fear, where we are free from fear. Of course, fear is healthy to some level, but we are addicted to fear. We are also addicted to struggle. We are addicted to stress. We are addicted to pain. We are addicted to suffering. We are addicted to our traumas. We are all collectively addicts and we are all collectively anxious. We are all experiencing that birth trauma. The moment we came into this world, we are immersed in trauma. We are in this body and we are immediately feeling limited. There is free will, but this free will is also limited. We have some free will, but we don't have free will to do anything that we want. We cannot fly, for example, in this time and space physical reality. We can do it in our dreams, but we cannot do it in this reality. So we do have some limited free will. And let's try to be as free as we can in this world, as free as we can, and practice this state of being free from fear, fear of others, that one especially, fear of others, because we are afraid of others a lot, and this means that we are afraid of ourselves. We are afraid of those parts of us that are hidden in that inner child complex, where I said everything that we suppressed, denied, ignored, neglected, whenever we felt this way, this immediately was taken into that energetic structure. And we are now restructuring ourselves, our inner family. We are restructuring our families in physical reality as well. We are redefining the meaning of the family. What does it really mean? Let's ask ourselves, what does it mean to have family? To, express that harmonious relationship with others. And this is, there is that fear of, for example, fear is that I am too weak to take care of myself. So I am too weak to grow up. I am too weak to get up and get out into the world. Capricorn, be out in the world, show yourself, put yourself out there, be exposed. And Cancer wants to hide, to withdraw from the world. But we need to put these two into the balance mode. And being safe and secure within myself, be my own mommy, be my own daddy, be my own mother and father, not, trying to project our traumas onto others, because this is what we do all the time. No excuses. This is something that is, again, I repeat, happening on an unconscious level. But this is truly a huge moment in time. Now, these years that are coming, we definitely have to come out of that infantile mode, of that immature emotional processes, of that blaming, of that moment where we feel threatened by others all the time. It's really time to get out of that mode, to wake up from that nightmare, because we are collectively living in a nightmare. We are in a collective nightmare, collective addicts, collective anxious mode, but we can do this and not be in that need of constant attention, of giving attention or need for receiving attention, or again, that space where we don't want any attention at all, so we run away from everyone and escape reality totally. This is also another numbness of the mind and heart. We need to remember what is a true, natural, free from fear relationship. What is free from fear connection with my inner child, with my parents, with my roots, with my other families, our soul family in this whole world. Because, as I said, this planet is a home on a higher, on a macro level, and all the people we live with are actually really our family. And how do we behave towards our family members? And we are really going through this self-healing energy now. And if we can heal ourselves, we can help others do the same. And this is, when we are again tricked into this state of taking care of everybody else except ourselves, this is the dark side of the mother archetype. This is the low side of the Cancer archetype, the moon archetype, when we want to take care of everyone except ourselves. And then we complain how we give, constantly give. We please others, but we don't receive anything in return. But of course, we will never receive anything in return, because this is what we have to give to ourselves. It's not that others are not giving us anything. It's our blocked and filtered perception, because we are constantly giving and we are constantly expecting something. What if we can give, as I said in previous live, as a secret giver? What if we can give without expecting and feel fulfilled just by giving? This would be another level. And Cancer wants comfort zone. That part in us wants a comfort zone, but there is a push out of it, and we are creating a new comfort zone now. And usually, mostly, what we think is our comfort zone is very dangerous for us, because we tend to stay there our whole life. We don't want to change anything. Or there are other kinds of people who are constantly in change. That's another comfort zone. Like, I am constantly changing everything, changing furniture, changing my image, changing my style, changing partnerships, changing places where I live. And this is another escapism mode of, again, that wound, that primal injury of being abandoned and not being taken care of, not feeling loved and taken care of fully of either of parents. And this is about us owning our own needs. Can we do this? We have to give ourselves some grace. We are waking up our heart, because the moon and the Cancer, they are about our heart energy, our chests. That milk is actually just, we can take it as a symbol of the wisdom that we can receive. The food for our soul. What is food for our soul? Let's think about it, because Cancer is a lot about food and feeding, but let's think in terms of that spiritual food. What is food for my soul? what is the right food for me, but not only for my soul, what is the right food for my body as well. How do I treat my body? How do I treat my senses? How do I treat my spiritual reality? How do I treat myself? Do I give myself the food that I need, or do I give myself food that is not good for me? So these are also big questions as well. And the journey to self is something that is active throughout our whole life. The journey to the self can feel like it's never ending, but it's really never ending because we are infinite. So let's take our time. What's the rush? Where do we hurry? Do we hurry to, finish this life? Many times I mention in these lives that people are always asking, when is this going to end? Like, what are you actually asking? When is this life going to end, maybe? Take your time. This is a multi-layered experience of life. We have so many things happening all the time, but we have to really take some rest and relax. Try to be, let's try to give ourselves that what we are looking to receive from others, that what we are expecting from others to give to us. Let's give that to ourselves. And we have to remember that we are always exactly where we need to be. There is no mistake there. We are always exactly right where we need to be. And when we say, but I didn't deserve this, let's not think in those terms of deserving. Let's think in terms that I am right there where I should be, and this is some lesson for me. And this is speaking to me directly. If it's happening, if I'm witnessing that something, then it's happening because it's telling me something. So it's not the point to lose our time and energy into those discussions with others, into those empty chit-chats with others, into disagreements and fights and stuff like that. Because let's try, if these things happen, let's try to look at those things from the perspective of the observer, of the someone who is observing that situation. And let's rise above that situation and let's try to see it objectively more. Let's try to see what is the message behind this, what is happening now. What is the message for me? Why am I feeling this? We cannot lie our feelings. We can manipulate with our words and our behavior, but we cannot manipulate what we feel inside of us, our inner reactions. We can manipulate our external reactions, but our inner reactions we cannot manipulate. We always know what we feel inside of us. And this feeling is telling us something about ourselves, not about others. This is something, if we feel it, it's for us and it's coming through us, and it's there to give us, to deliver us the deeper message. So this is a time for us to create our own private oasis. This Cancer full moon with Uranus in the game and with Mercury retrograde in the game. And Neptune is also in trine, beautiful aspect with this full moon, which gives us this power of imagination, power of visualization, power of dreaming, power of seeing through symbols, power of being able to read between the lines and to see the synchronicities, power to feel what we feel, to get real in order to feel and in order to heal. But this is really how it's happening. We have to get real in order to feel, and we have to feel things in order to heal them. We cannot numb ourselves. We cannot deny the feelings. We cannot blame others all the time and expect the world to understand us. And to run away, and we always try to find someone where we feel that we belong with. Even in those moments, in those situations where we feel like nobody understands us, we are completely alone. Then again, we are searching for someone who feels the same, who feels similar, just to feel that comfort. But as I said, these coming years, starting from this one, it's time to stop doing that. It's time to stop playing those immature games. It's time to really rise above that and to grow up and to be, connected with that inner child. Connect with all those things that we are afraid of. When we deeply feel and love our fear, it can transmute into love. We can really deeply fall in love with the fear, with our fear, with the fear that we feel all the time. We don't have to be afraid of that fear. Fear is very constructive. It's giving us the fuel for waking up. It's giving us the fuel for making the change. So let's honor that fear. I'm always trying through these lives to remind myself and all of others who are listening that these things that we have been thought that are somehow bad or destructive are actually also constructive. Everything can be used in our favor. Everything. No matter how heavy it may be, no matter how struggling it may be. Let's try to give our best to become better, to become real human beings, to understand what it really means to be a human being. And, we learned to compensate and take care of others, to try to gain approval and to feel safe. But we don't need to do that anymore. And in fact, if we continue doing that same thing, it will be harder and harder. So now is that we are really supported. We have this, we can do this now. Especially because there are no excuses anymore of not knowing. Everything is available to us now. That knowledge that has been hidden from us, the knowledge of ourselves, the knowledge of the nature and how powerful it is and how powerful we are with our minds and our hearts and our energy. And, this knowledge has been hidden, but now we don't have excuses. We have to work on ourselves. This was possible before, in those times before, but now we don't have excuses. We really have to take that full responsibility of ourselves and, to stop using the guilt, to stop feeling that somebody owes me something or that I owe something to somebody. We don't owe anything to anyone but to ourselves, and we have to own ourselves in order to give back that depth that we have to return to ourselves. And, that's, let's stop repeating those scripts. Let's stop repeating the scripts where we are saying, I'm not good enough, or I'm better than you, or look how much I've done for you, or look how much you did for me, how can I ever return this back to you? And then we start blaming that person because we are not able to return the amount that we feel we received from someone. These are all the stories and scripts that we carry, but we can transform them. And when we are in that relaxed state of being, we actually reset our blood flow through our body, and our blood carries our spirit. So we do have ability to reset and to transform the flow of blood and our nervous system. We have that ability within ourselves. Truly, we do, because we are also the womb and the tomb of the spirit, of the soul that we carry. And we have to remember that this fear is there for a reason. It's not there in order to torture us. It's not there in order to stop us or block us or feed on us, but to teach us, to show us those weaknesses where we have those greatest gifts, to show us those blind spots where our greatest potentials are. And let's remember, let's not go into emotional manipulations Let's recognize those manipulations in ourselves. Let's protect others from ourselves. Let's give our best to be in that state where we are free from fear. And, do it yourself. We are on this mission of do it yourself. This is an assignment. And this empowers us to be our own parents. And this empowers us to be our own fathers, to be our own nurturers. And we gotta do this ourselves. Nobody will do this for us. And life is really pushing us to do it ourselves. And we can all collectively find our way home. We are on our way home. We are always on our way home. But we fail to reach that home because we again and again search for that space outside of us. And now it's really time to do it, to say, I am coming home to my spirit, to love. And I am coming home to be my own mother and father. I am coming home to take care of that inner child finally, to give that inner child the love that it needs, to stop suffocating that inner child. That inner child may be drowning within myself. I have to give it a hand. I have to take it out, and I will do it by giving and forgiving. And, let's say goodbye to those childhood fears, because all these fears that we have when we are grown up, all fears that all grown-ups have are childhood fears. These are childhood fears and memories of not being supported or nurtured. This was then, and now is now. So let's remember, this is now, and we don't have to live in those fears again. So let's take care of our emotional needs. Let's strengthen ourselves. Let's build that inner strength, because that's the greatest strength that we can have, our inner strength. This is when nobody and nothing can move us from that inner centeredness, that inner anchor. Let's be more emotionally stable and secure. Emotional maturity, remember, healing core emotions. Heal thyself to become the healer. No, this is the message. Let's take a different approach to taking care of emotional needs. Let's show support. Let's give a hand. Those changes will make us stronger on the inside. This is a cosmic push forward. We have heightened feelings and emotional release, and something comes to completion. So let's say goodbye to those childhood fears and traumas. Some feelings are pushing us to take some action, to make a change, Uranus, to release any patterns that are holding us back. Let's release those things. Stronger, our intuition is stronger than ever. Let's trust our gut, and let's stop blaming and expecting others to do things for us that we have to do for ourselves. This can be a deeply nostalgic time, but we are reflecting back on everything, reflecting back on our life, going through our past, but this is giving us the great resource of moving forward, of feeling that cosmic push outside of that womb, outside of that comfort zone. Let's get out of the womb. Let's be born. We are giving birth to ourselves all the time. Again, you see, through each archetype, we are giving birth to ourselves. But Cancer is the most appropriate one. These are the gates through which we come into this world and be embodied. We are energies embodied into these bodies. So, there is a need to be home, to nest with those who we love. So let's nest with ourselves, with our inner world, turn inward to restore, to recharge, to replenish our spirit. Sit with ourselves, align with our roots and our deep desires. This is an invitation for an initiation with ourselves. So let's all do this. Please, this is really, really emotional time and really powerful time. And if we hold on to anger and sadness, we are going to feel those emotions too on a greater degree, but they are also constructive. Let's not run away from them either. Appreciate the gifts that we already have, acknowledge the gifts that we've been given, and let's just face those root issues, those core emotional issues that we have. And release those patterns and let's just know that we can be free from that fear. We can be free from that infantile state of being, and we can truly rise above that and become our greatest mothers and fathers, and come into union with that inner child and create that sacred inner family within ourselves in harmony, because this is the only way that we can create the harmony in the world with others, in this planet that is our home. So let's remember this, that we are all on this planet, in this soul family place, and we will know this once when we align with our inner mother, inner father, and inner child. Happy New Year, everyone. Really happy New Year, and let's apply all of this. Let's apply all the lessons that we've learned, and let's just walk with that inner strength. Let's remember that we have that inner strength and power to release those childhood fears. I love you all, and see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.